Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, LPG Marketers warn of possible product shortage and further hikes in prices at the various service stations. Also coming up, some banks deploy strategies to discourage opening of foreign currency deposits as it becomes increasingly expensive to hold the funds due to recent regulatory measures. Also coming up this afternoon, cement sales yet to pick up despite surge in construction activities, according to second quarter GDP estimates. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for being with us. Details coming up. And thanks for staying with us, everyone. First up, LPG marketers are warning of possible shortage of a product from next week. This is due to the current state of the LPG reserves in the country and challenges with new rules for importing domestic gas. It is also projecting prices of the product are expected to go up further due to current developments rather on the international market. Gabriel Kome is Vice Chairman of the LPG Marketers Association. He joins me on Zoom. Good afternoon to you, Gabriel. We've been dealing with supply challenges in the last 2 weeks. Now, explain to us what this new challenge is, because we're told that the situation was going to be resolved the last couple of weeks. So what's new?
Thank you very much, Darryl. I mean, the supply situation over the past 1 month has been very erratic. We're dealing with a very hot pan situation where any drop of water you put in vanishes in no time. So we need to be able to stabilize the situation, we need a very, very consistent supply to be able to yes, indeed. Some quantities came in last week. We started selling that last 2 days. And our expectation is that by end of this week, that will dry up. So if we don't get any vessel coming in from the weekend into early next week is going to be very dire. Because at Tuabo, we know we take LPG, we take LPG from two main sources. About 45 to 50% of our national needs is being obtained from the Tuabo gas processing plant. For the past 1 month, the gas processing plant has been down. It's not operating as we speak. I don't know, but even if it's operating, it's not churning out LPG for us to load onto the market. That means that the entire country will have to depend on the imports at Tema to supply the whole nation. And that has really put a lot of pressure on the imported products. If Atuabo is still not operating, as I said, and like I said, what came into the system is already dried up. By tomorrow, Friday, it will be dried up. Our checks from the Ashanti region indicates that about 60% of LPG stations in the Ashanti region are not having the product, especially in Kumasi. In Accra, we have about the opposite. The 60% of LPG outlets in Accra are having the product, 40% are not having. But by weekend, the situation, we are going to dry up. And if any ship doesn't come in early next week, we are in for trouble. But I think MPA has picked up the signals, and I want to believe that they are working at it to ensure that the product comes in as quickly as possible. One other reason why we haven't really had a consistent supply of product is also the current policy of MPA of the tender, using tender to bring in the product. But I want to believe that MPA had a very good motive for doing that, but the results have shown that it's not helping. I mean, for the past 5-6 years, we've never experienced any LPG shortage in Ghana, and this was because each BBC was allowed to import the product at will. Anytime they feel they need to, they import the product. But now we are going through a tendering process where only one BDC is allowed to bring the product at a time and share to the other BDCs. And even in that process, there's a lot of bottlenecks. I mean, about 2 weeks ago, about 11,000 came in, we discharged, and for well over a week, we were not able to pump the product onto the market because there was a lot of issues with the administering and trying to take stock to make sure all the products are intact, and that took too much time. Formally, when any BDC brings in the product, he discharges the next day, he's on the market selling. So we believe it's about time NPA take a second look at the tendering process and liberalize the market, allow the BDCs to bring in the product as and when is needed, so that we can avoid this shortage. The Christmas is coming. From next month, our burger friends and sisters and brothers are going to start coming into the country. This is going to put a lot of pressure on domestic consumption of LPG. So it's about time we up the planning to ensure that we are able to get some LPG to cook our chicken during the Christmas holidays.
Right. Thanks for reminding us that Christmas is around the corner. We can't afford issues to do with LPG supply. So how confident are you about the assurances given by the MPO fixing the situation?
We will want to see practical measures being put in place. We need to abrogate the tender process. It's not helping. It's not helping the industry. It's not allowing for free flow of product onto the market. And now that Atuabo is even down, it's even called for more agency in abrogating that process, so that BDCs are liberalized, BDCs are allowed to bring in the product as quickly. There are BDCs who can command product into the Ghanaian market within a week or within a matter of days. But they are not allowed, they are being restricted by this tendering. Like I did indicate, we want to believe that MPA had a good intention, but the results have shown that the tendering process is not helping us. So they should just liberalize the market, allow the BDCs. Let's go back to the former regime where each BDC is allowed to import its own products.
And that should be a permanent fix to the problem.
That will fix the problem. Like I did indicate, for the past 6 years, have you ever heard of any LPG shortage? That was because the market was open to all. But now we are all depending on one BDC to bring in the product. When it comes to, it takes so long a time for us to distribute the product to the BDCs, take stock. Sometimes you hear some stock are missing, so it pulls everybody down. And this is what is contributing to some of these shortages that we are having. I mean, and more importantly, Atuabo that gives us at least 45% of our needs is down. It's not producing. So I think that should really push MPA to see the need to ensure that we abrogate this tender and then give the BDCs the go-ahead to import the product. We are really suffering. It's not good for business at all. Last month our volumes were very down. This month we are not seeing the volumes that we should be doing, and consumer is also suffering. And in Kumasi, my report we had from Kumasi this morning indicates that people are carrying stairs and roaming the town of Kumasi trying to find LPG. They are not having it. So and my fear is the Christmas coming, the pressure by November, the pressure start coming on the usage of LPG. So if we don't take very concrete and smart moves now, we will have a lot of challenges going forward.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, we had a report from Kumasi and the situation there is not so good. And so it's not just the clients affected by this, the consumers, but your businesses as well. And so we'll continue to monitor and see how it goes. Gabriel Kumi, Vice Chairman, LPG Marketers Association, thank you so much for your time this afternoon on the marketplace. Now, turning to some other stories, some commercial banks are deploying strategies to discourage opening of foreign currency accounts as well as fresh deposits by some customers. Here's more what Joy Business is picking up from the market.
And the action by some of the banks, we understand, has been influenced by the fact that it has now become more expensive to hold these foreign currency deposits. This was after the Bank of Ghana asked all the commercial banks to hold a fraction of all the foreign currencies in Ghana cedis with them. So imagine a bank having about $10 million in deposits, and due to this new directive, it is required to hold about 20% of that in Ghana cedis. This, however, has become a major cost to most of these banks. Meanwhile, one of the commercial banks, for instance, have told Joy Business that this move is not targeted at firms and individuals that are making use of these accounts for business purposes, but rather those that have tried to use these foreign currency accounts as savings and investments. Another bank also told Joy Business that you cannot have $200,000 in your account for a whole year for not being touched. Therefore, some of these actions are targeted at these account holders.
Now, cement sales are yet to pick up strongly this year despite a surge in construction activities. This was contained in the Bank of Ghana data on real sector activities for the year. Here's George Affe with more.
The last time cement sales in the country crossed more than 300,000 tons was in January 2022. However, it has been declining since that time. The Bank of Ghana puts the current numbers at 238,000 tons. However, for some, the development can be described as interesting, especially when data from the Ghana Statistical Service revealed that construction activities are picking up based on the second quarter GDP estimate. The data is also coming at a time that the Trade Minister is trying to push a new directive that cement manufacturing firms may not need license before they can operate. Some of the cement manufacturing firms have told Joy Business that the data from the Bank of Ghana is accurate, arguing that demand for their products have been badly affected over the past years due to the current economic challenges and the debt service freeze, which resulted in halting major government construction works in the country.
Meantime, the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry has identified taxes on imported equipment for projects as a threat to the operations. The Chamber is of the view that these taxes are a disincentive for private companies that wish to expand. Here's more.
The pace of expansion in Ghana's construction industry has been relatively slow in recent quarters, reflecting subdued investor and consumer confidence amid rising inflation, currency fluctuation, and disruption in merchandise trade. The Global Market Research in 2021 said the industry was expected to register marginal growth in 2022 as a whole of just 0.9% in real terms, down from 5.7% in 2021. Growth is expected to pick up steadily in 2023 to 2.3% and then accelerate to an annual average of 5.3% between 2024 and 2026. But players within this sector say the growth projected by the Global Market Research may not be achieved with government introduction of the new free taxes, especially the growth and sustainability tax.
If we talk about the tax introductions in the country and its effects to we the industry players, in as much as the manufacturing sector is also being suffocated or being choked with tax being passed, the same applies to us as well, because as a construction industry players, we deal directly with the manufacturing sector and then the financial institutions as well. So anything that affects them affects us adversely. So immediately there is introduction of new taxes in the industry, automatically our businesses are also affected one way or the other. Because for instance, if you should go and bid for a project possibly last year, that you are on site, that's supposed to have been taking 2 years to do. Now, with the introduction of a new tax, automatically the goods and services within the industry will definitely rise. So if that happens, it will affect the build-up of the rate that you have in the your contract document. So if you're not very careful, care is not taken, you may finish the work, but you run at a loss. So that's the reason why most of the times you see that most construction project doesn't see the completion, because the prices of the goods in the market has skyrocketed, and then the contractor cannot match it with the existence. So therefore, he needs to go for renegotiation. So if the client is not ready to at least adjust to that upwards increase, definitely the contractor may walk out of sight, because he wants also to break an even, not to run a loss at a go. So definitely, as we speak now, any tax introduction in the market affects us, especially the exchange rates, the the import duty, the freight, all those things. For instance, today we are witnessing the launch of a new product of CMAF. It's a good product that has been introduced to the market. But the question is, if they are clearing, the freight, the import duties and what have you. All those things, they slap it on the product. It makes the price also a little higher. And we, the contractors, we normally go and purchase these items. So that tells you that the prices of our product, that is the construction works, automatically also increases. So we are hand in hand, just like egg and chicken affairs. So anything that affects the manufacturing sector, it affects construction industry as well. Anything that affects the financial sector affects the construction industry as well. So that's our challenge now.
According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the construction industry's value add fell by 1.1% year-on-year in the first 2 quarters of 2022, falling from 6.8 billion Ghana cedis in January to June 2021 to 6.7 billion Ghana cedis in January and June 2022.
All right, time to discuss the latest headlines in the tech world. I'm joined by Lead for Eyes of Africa, Henry Kobler. Good afternoon to you, Henry. So, Ghana's Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has launched a government mobile app called Citizens App, which is designed to help users digitally interact with government entities. What more are you learning about this app?
Thank you very much, Laro. So one amazing app that we'll definitely find on our Play stores to try and solve the issues of government and payment. I mean, rolling into the digitalization agenda, I think that it's one of the steps in the right direction where we're having all of government's solutions on one application, and that comes in to help citizens to be able to make simple payments as to their utilities and taxes and then their SNCC contributions, to be able to see all of them directly in one app. For me, I think that I've taken a look at the application. It basically has a bit of a prospect and could definitely help if we put it in the right direction. And again, we're making efforts to make sure that this is not just one of those applications that finds itself on the Play Store and does not get to be updated over time, but it gets to be one of the innovatives where you're going to find quite a number of solutions sitting on the application.
Yeah, you make an interesting point. I mean, we've seen government launch some of these projects, and at the end of the day, they become useless. How do we make it useful, and how will it benefit our economy?
I mean, first of all, let me just chip this in that generally for me, I'm always up for development of applications with private sectors, because I feel that when we're empowering some of these companies that could build these applications directly, it would have been better off to channel some of these funding into businesses. I have seen most of the solutions already being deployed on applications which have been already built by private sector, youth, individual-led businesses in Ghana. And so I feel that it's just one of those duplicated applications. But again, government always wants to be able to find its solutions at one place. And so that is why I would definitely say I would support it on a single application. And so for me, the focus really is not just about launching it, it's more about how useful it has been. I think that the government basically has tried to prove in time over the past 2 years where I've used this to pay my taxes directly, especially the main web portals, to pay my taxes directly, and also to make someone or two purchases, and even to apply for my passport. I used that to make payment. And so I think it's a good solution in the right direction. For me, I'm looking at how the management is really going to go, and even the funding awareness around this. I've cited publications that are coming in to mention that this application is costing close to almost about $3 million, which is basically a very huge amount of money, considering the application itself and the functionalities currently sitting on it. I am looking forward to a lot more of this application being in use, especially being able to connect well for the Ghana card and different solutions in terms of, let's say, the mapping service, which has already been out there for years, and I've not seen a lot of prospects around it. But for me, generally, number one, I'm just looking at how the management of this application is going to be. I mean, amidst change of government, or who basically rolls up the responsibility in picking up and managing this application, and then the build thereof.
All right, I'm going to ask you two questions. One, what opportunities with this open for the techpreneurs here in the country. Plus, should we be concerned about security?
Yes, I mean, I'm not in the past where this has been launched on the web portal heard of any security breaches therein. And so I'm thinking that some level of good work has been done in terms of security, but you can never always be perfect when it gets down to security. And so I am looking at, as much as a lot of people, I don't know the numbers, there've never been any publication of the numbers of the people that are sort of using it and how much of payment have gone through the application in itself. I mean, some of these things are the things I'm looking forward to, the publications from the government side being able to throw in, and we see the rapid growth of that application coming in. I'm just only seeing that now it's getting onto mobile application, and so we can be able to do some level of tracking on that. But I think that the government can do a better work in terms of informing us as to how many people are using the app, how many people are basically making payments on the app and all of that. And could go, that becomes important. So security, I don't think that there have ever been breaches, or even if there has been, it has never been reported. And so I can only hope that it gets better off in terms of that. Again, secondly, I think that for techpreneurs and people in the industry, they could look at how they could do a lot of build onto this application, or even still find alternatives to what the government already provides. Because I know that there are fintech operators that are already running some of these utility payments and other ones on the application. And so it could always go rivaling this application. That gives a bit of competition in terms of being able to have the usage and the user experience on these applications also on other fintech applications, and that can give the government some level of head-to-head competition as to improvement of this app and being also innovative on the applications as well. I think there's a lot of opportunities that anybody could look at this application and build, and it can get to me. One of the most important things that I will be looking out for is job opportunities and then procurement services directly on this application. That'll be exciting to see a government channel most of its procurement processes and thereof on this application.
All right, Henry Kobler, thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time on the marketplace. That's our program, everyone. Thanks for watching. There is more news on our website, myjournalline.com/business. Head there for the latest news stories. We will be back same time tomorrow.